Yeah, well, I'm Faith, Faith Carews, but Faith by the first name. I'm a Aussie artist based in Brisbane in Queensland. My passions are like singing and songwriting and performing, but I also love teaching music, I love producing and composing. But basically, my whole life is music. Always has been, always will be. And I'm currently in the process of recording music. I have a few different projects that I am dabbling in. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Yeah, that's a good question. I think my biggest thing was just it was like growing up. I grew up with a single mum, and it was just us. And I grew up just like constantly surrounded by music because she like trained in opera when she was younger. I don't sing opera, but that would be interesting. But I was just constantly surrounded by obviously a lot of classical music too, but um everywhere in the car, in the kitchen, she would be playing songs from like the 80s and 90s or country music or musical theater like Cats or she'd play R&B and pop. So it was like just a constant surround of music and we had like a little keyboard at home I would play on. And then as I got older and I got to join choir at school and suddenly I started branching out in like not just like consuming music but actually performing and being a part of it outside of the kitchen walls. That's when I think my passion for that area of performing like really grew. Um, so yeah, it all kind of started very early on. Like there was never a time I wasn't singing or writing or doing something with music, which is pretty cool. Yeah. That's such a good question. I feel like it definitely has gotten easier as I've gotten older. Because I think I started writing when I was around 6, but it was when I was 10, I think I really got into like just repetitively everyday writing. And at that point, it was just a matter of I'm just gonna experiment and constantly try. And now I think I'm at a point where sometimes it comes pretty naturally. Like I love to just sit down every day and just write. I won't always get the perfect song. I'll definitely get a song. But I think I've worked really hard and I keep working hard to try and make sure that I like have a constant creative flow. Um, and so that way it comes quite naturally in the sense that I get inspired very quickly. But I still sometimes have to work at a song to get it where I want to, especially if it's a challenge. If there's something like I'm challenging myself to do, whether it's like harmonically or emotionally, sometimes that can be a bit tricky. But I'd say I'd say it definitely has come more naturally in the past few years, but it takes a while. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of my biggest influences are like Ed Sheeran, Passenger. They were huge when I started learning guitar. They were huge influences in like my chord shapes and the structure of the songs I wrote and the storytelling. I'd say Bruce Springsteen, I'm like a huge fan of, always was growing up. I loved his like live performance and all that stuff. Carole King and Joni Mitchell, like just those females who are just so honest and authentic when they sing and when they write their music. Obviously Tay Tay, a little bit of Tay Tay every day. I couldn't go without it. And I think as well, like honestly, I genuinely get inspired by a lot of people in the Brisbane music scene lately. Like when I'm going out and seeing gigs, even if it's not a style I want to replicate, just like the creativity that comes from that. Oh, also Tori Kelly. Oh my gosh, I love Tori Kelly. I'm such a big fan. I think like her ability to move to different genres and styles, but also keep just herself so authentic at the center of it, I think is like amazing and what I absolutely adore about her as an artist. So I'd say those are like there's probably like plenty more, but they're like some of the main ones. Ooh, I don't know actually. I feel like that's a question maybe I couldn't personally answer. I think like, it's I what I can say about, like, being a First Nations artist and woman is the fact of growing up learning my roots, because I only found it's really, really interesting story, like, growing up, I didn't know about my heritage until I was, like, kind of a tween, and, family, sadly, not my mom, but, like, generations had kept it, like, a secret in shame, which I'm not ashamed of, but, once I found out about that, I was able to, like, really tap into my roots and my history, and I feel like that has, whether or not I know it, but I feel like it has influenced me as an artist and a songwriter, because I get to know myself more and I get to be more honest, and maybe that makes you stand out is when you are, whether you're First Nations or not, when you're truly tapping into your identity and your roots, that authenticity shines through and makes you an individual, amongst a scene. So perhaps, but I guess it's for other people to answer. But yeah, storyteller. Yeah, the singles Jubilee. No, that's okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the first, actually the second single off it is Jubilee. But yeah, the EP is called Storyteller. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you should go listen. I think genuinely, it was just a really exciting project. Um, I feel like all of it is just me. Like, I'm not hiding anything. It's genuinely, authentically music that I loved making, that I love performing, and the entire process as well. I made it. I mean, I wrote the songs myself, but in the studio, I was able to have a lot of autonomy as like a co-producer. I got to lead the sessions. I was also doing engineering, and I worked with some beautiful, beautiful friends, Chloe Fraser, Eli Badger, and Hayden White, who are just incredible people. And working with friends in a studio makes that process and the creative and recording process so much more enjoyable. And I feel like that comes through in the music too. So, um, hopefully, I think my main thing is like I want someone when they're listening to it to hopefully connect, whether it's like they feel a sense of joy or a sense of connection or a sense of feeling seen, or just being able to feel like the fact that music can do that. I hope it does that for someone. But yeah, it's available everywhere to check out. I mean, yeah, little like shameless promo. Yeah, yeah. Name dropping gig. I mean, I'd probably say I haven't got too many gigs lined up at the moment, but there's definitely stuff in the like in the works. I have a lot of projects I'm working on. I'm working on my debut album. I'm writing a musical at the moment, that I'm like close to finishing, so to keep an eye out for that, I guess. But I'd say like I'm just beyond grateful, like for people like you as well too. Like you are so kind, and just the time that you've taken to like support artists like me. And I think it blows my mind that people would take time to listen to my music and hear it, consume it, and vibe with it maybe. Um, so I'm just like constantly sitting in gratitude, with all of this, and I just can't wait to make more, and hopefully I can my music can have a life of its own and an impact beyond me once it's out there. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else I could say? I'm like, what can I say? Free reign. Well, maybe that's what I'll say. Maybe I'll leave it there. But yeah, just constant gratitude. So thank you for doing this today. This is fun.